In the centuries before Pākehā arrived in Aotearoa, many tribes came and went from the shores of Te Tauihu o Te Waka a Māori, each developing their own unique relationship with the land and resources. However, at their core, each iwi, hapu and whānau shared an unwavering commitment to their community and the belief that many strands of muka make the kete strong.
It's amazing how much one little plant can produce so much work. Yeah, so what I like to do is take away these dead ones. For this plant here, a tūpuna by the name of Henekawa McGregor planted it up and utilised it. So she left us with this beautiful taonga, and now it's our responsibility to look after it. So yeah, all I'm doing is year by year, just slightly trimming it, cleaning it. And because this is a tūpuna harakeke, you know, we want to have it as best as possible, you know, so the whakapapa lives on. I guess where we are at the moment is the different hapu within Te Tauihu. We have our own kete of knowledge, but we are starting to weave it all together, sharing the mātauranga between us and the other rōpū, highlighting the rich culture that we do have here in Te Tauihu. And I think that adds more mana and it allows us to grow as a region, you know, and that can just grow wider and wider and wider.
The post-colonial story of Te Tauihu Māori echoes that of iwi across Aotearoa. Broken land deals took away Māori economic power, scattering communities. And although Māori revitalisation is becoming more powerful and meaningful year by year, the scars of that cultural disconnection are slow to fade.
Leave your shoes on, kei te pai ngā hū.
In Waiharakeke or Blenheim, Hawaiki kura are 10 years deep into a kaupapa rebuilding connections to te ao Māori.
Whānau tu mai te toki, haumi e, hui e, i tai ki e. E ngā tāne Māori, koutou rā kua hara mai nei. Ki te aku anō e ngā tikanga a kui mā koroma, e ngā rongo wā o ngā atua, tēnei rā a Hawaiki kura. Me ona mana nui e tūpau nei, e mihi ana ki a koutou katoa. Nau mai, kuhu mai rā ki roto i tō tātou whare. Nau mai rā ki runga ki te whāriki o te whakeiti.
I just want you to walk around. And then whoever you're in front of, you're just going to stand there in front of the brother and then you're just going to look at him. It's okay if it feels uncomfortable. It's okay if it brings up emotions for you. Our men in particular, you know, when they come in, they're vulnerable. We're able to set this space up for them where they feel included, where they feel supported, and then we're able to stretch them and make them grow. This wānanga is about us taking time out as tāne Māori to be able to come together with other like-minded brothers to empower and to heal and to connect. We talk about our model here at Hawaiki could have been Indigenous collective counselling and therapy. And it's beautiful, you know, having Māori men coming together to talk about their emotions. Ka pai, hoki mai ki tā tātou porowhita tapu. Beautiful. You know, it's daunting because for some of our whānau, it's the first time that they've been in such an Indigenous space.
Ko te kawa tuatai. Tāne Maya, Tāne the brave, Tāne the courageous one. It's hard out there, brothers. It's going to get even harder when you get home. Whoa, tai! Loa! Taru! Fa! Lima!
The greatest influencer in my life is my grandmother. She's passed away now. She was the leader of our marae, the leader of our tribe, the leader of our whānau, and leadership through service was one of her things. Mahi te mahi hei paanga mo te iwi. When she passed away, she had a mere pounamu that she gifted me, and it signalled, that transferring of mana, I guess, which has never been a role that I've taken lightly. And yeah, she's always close to my heart when we do things. We're guided by our ancestors, and everything that we do is so that our babies absolutely believe that they are a seed born of greatness.
Tūriki, tūriki! Whaneke, whaneke! Hara mai te toki! Haumia! Huia! Taikie!
So, I te motunga o te rā, at the end of the day, it's all around empowerment and the well-being of our people. Our people have been surviving for too long. It's time that we thrive.
There is an intrinsic understanding here in Te Tauihu that reconnecting to te ao Māori is about showing up for each other and building strong communities.
Auraki mai ngā kono, I wanganui a tātou. He kai māku, he kai mau, tihai, mauri ara. Start diving in there. I'll get a bit of that. And somewhere there's some kumara and some potatoes down the bottom too. Well, my mum used to make fry bread every Friday night, and that was our staple for it at home. This is a family home, but this is where all the work takes place. When you do this one, you go on a sharp angle, like that.
Oh,
okay. And then work your way back there. During the weekends, we have people come through the space all the time. And from my point of view, we have an obligation really to the teachers and to anyone who steps into the Toi Māori space. And so that's why I make this space here open so that whānau can come through and do their little projects and use the tools, because not all of the tools are available to them. This is one of our whānau projects. Not sure the name of these, everyone's got a different name, but it's a waka ipu for dyeing muka. For the most part, all of the pieces you see here are taonga that are in different stages of being finished. So I spend a lot of time out here, in between all of my other mahi. If you can imagine the life of a city councillor and also all of the other projects that I do, I balance that almost equally with the amount of time that I'm in this space. So I guess the angle I'm sort of coming from is I just wondered how active the council are with in terms of the code compliance inspections. So yeah, I'm a Nelson City Councillor. 2022, the public in Whakatū had opportunity to vote for the first Māori ward position on our council. But anyone could stand for the Māori ward. You didn't have to be Māori. So we look at it as if we don't participate, we'll leave the door open for other people to have a say in our space.
If I have a concern over the Three Waters discussion, the country would be better off had that $1 billion been spent on actually upgrading wastewater and drinking water systems.
I think we undervalue and we underestimate the influence that we can have at local government level, implementing really good things for our community. The message to whānau, don't be prepared to march on Wellington if you're not prepared to simply walk down to your local school or your voting houses and put the card in the orange box.
The Marlborough Sounds is a collection of ancient sunken river valleys that have sat underwater since the last ice age. Framed by mountains and forests, this rohe provided every resource that was needed for Māori to thrive for hundreds of years. Even now, the whenua is resource-dense, and the taonga, once nurtured by those earliest tūpuna, are now treasured by the uri who have come after them.
Kei konei te papakainga, he uru karaka. They all grow in a straight line. So our tūpuna obviously planted them here as a form of kai, maybe even a windbreaker. The actual name of this bay is called Ōkiwi Bay, but in some of the old maps it's recorded as Anakiwi. When our tūpuna first arrived, the moana was plentiful, you know, lots of kai. This awa is called hāpiata. They used to come out here and try and catch kahawai. I think they used to have fish trapped. And then on the land, you just had just as much life. You know, even to this day, we still have the waka on the whenua. The hills behind us, we've got pākohe quarry sites that our tūpuna source the argillite from. This is a tree that we often come to. This is the tāne-kaha. We extract the bark to dye our fibres red. This was a patch of bark that I had taken out like 4 or 5 years ago. But it's nice to see that there's another bark coming up over it. I guess in a modern context, it's a place to come to get away from the city. You know, we're right into the revitalisation of our cultural practices. What better place to be than the place that actually has the resources available, but not only that, you have a whakapapa connection to that whenua. Yeah, so this is our whānau urupa. Just in front of me are where our babies are. We lost them early, but they all have names. And then these are pākohe that we took from some of the quarries just up further. We've brought trees up as well, and when those trees get big, they will, you know, just remind you of your babies. And I guess having our babies here connects us that much more to the whenua.
Pre-colonial Māori were skilled farmers, and none more so than the first inhabitants of Te Tauihu. Here in Maraho, on the windy shores of Tasman Bay, the kaitiaki of this wakatū whenua are bringing the vision of those tūpuna back to life.
I'm just trying to fill up every little space that I've got with a plant instead of growing weeds. Parkland School has contacted us about trying to grow kumara this year. They said when they have the hangis, it's the most expensive stuff they've got. So it'll be really cool to go help them to try and to teach the whānau class how to grow kumara. And our grandparents, that's all they ever knew, was to have a garden in their house. So I'm just hoping that I can teach somebody. As long as somebody takes up the practice, I think we've succeeded. If you put a good effort into something, the rewards pay off. So I sort of put my best effort into fishing, hunting, diving, whatever I'm doing. Get away from those phones and just put all that effort that you do into that environment, you know, it'll pay off. We plant a lot of store cupboard stuff, so that'll last us for the year. Onions, potatoes, garlic. And I really hate going to the supermarket and looking at the price of everything, you know, $3, $4 lettuce and broccolis. Honestly, don't know how people can afford it. It's cheaper to buy fizzies and chippies than it is to buy nice, healthy veggies. There's a couple of old guys I feed that just cruise up the road on their wheelchairs, just because that's how we are as a people. Sharing what you have, the abundance of what you have, is to be able to share with people. Yeah, and it doesn't matter who you are, you just share. What we're most excited about is the Māori potatoes, the moi moi. The first time they've probably been growing out here for an eternity. And then the next one we're looking forward to is doing the kumara. Yeah, bringing life back to Maraho again. Because the stories I hear is that these paddocks were abundance with kai, so I'd like to change it back to that if we could. Put the mara back in Maraho. That's probably the biggest key for me and my wife. Leave it in better conditions than when we started.
Here we are, Katie Pie. Come on. She's such a sweet thing. She was a working dog. All the old people from the Papakainga said that she was beautiful to watch. That came to an end. And so she started wandering. The owner decided to put her down. And the old people heard and they rang me to say, please, Marnie, please don't let this happen. Will you take her? So, I mean, did I save Katie initially? But I think actually she saved me. She's a beautiful girl.
After more than 3 decades living in the UK and Switzerland, Marnie made the final move home in 2016, settling in her father's hometown of Motueka. She is now a trustee at Te Awhina Marae and volunteers in the community, including the Motueka Riding for the Disabled.
As a child on my uncle's farm, well, you all climbed on a horse, however many children could fit on her back, and lift the tail and one in the boot. Off you go. There were no lessons. How many kids these days get to ride a horse? And here's what you're going to say to everybody. Can you introduce yourself?
Ko hinamara, ko whiriwai, ko makairi.
All right, so shall we head off now?
Yep.
Go and show them what you're made of? I'm not a worker. I'm the girl, the old girl, that picks up children that have got the good fortune to be able to participate. When I go to pick them up, Marnie, and come running to give me a love because they know it's their day to go riding.
Okay, Makairi, do we remember what stirrup length we are?
13.
Awesome. All right, hop up. Yep. And gently onto her back, remember? Yep. Swing your leg. Very nice. Well done. There's a lot of learning in the different ways that people function and need support and stuff like that. Oh, careful. With the kids, it's very much been encouraging them to kind of learn what they're good at, have a bit of a place. It's actually really inspiring watching them grow, I find. All right, guys, can I get you all to roll your shoulders back? Can I get you to lift your hands up towards the sky, wiggle your fingers? Oh, very nice.
You could get a kid that says nothing but grunt, and then in the end you've got a kid that will never shut up, just wanting to tell you everything.
Want you to imagine a really pretty clearing in the forest. Lovely trees, there's birds singing. Maybe there's a stream running through your clearing. But you want to stay and enjoy the scene as long as you can, but you know you've got dinner at home, so you're going to do your slowest walk possible.
The little smiles on their faces when they're going to take them back to school. It's beautiful. They're calm and they're happy.
All right, guys, let's head back into the arena now, because it's actually time to hop off pretty much.
So that brings me back to our Papakainga. I would like all of our children to have an opportunity to ride, which bring joy, don't you think?
And then when you're ready, you can slide off and give your volunteer a high five before you head back to school.
For generations, Māori were cut off from their ancestral places and ways of life. But now, as iwi and hapu embrace the post-settlement era, they are reviving those cultural connections.
So I think the part of our Crown apology that applies to our trip here the most, it says the Crown regrets and apologises for the cumulative effect of its actions and omissions which have had a damaging impact on the social and traditional structures of rangitane. Their autonomy and ability to exercise customary rights and responsibilities, and their access to customary resources and significant sites. With this apology, the Crown seeks to atone for its past wrongs and begin the process of healing. And to me, it's not just powerful, but it's really clear on why we should be fighting to come back here. So we're here at Lake Rotoiti, healing for tuna. For the longest time, we were restricted from coming here and carrying out many of our cultural activities. DOC have, through the Conservation Minister, given us permission to be able to come back here to rebuild that practice. Those people that got our settlement for us, they spent 20 years, 30 years working towards a settlement. And I think, you know, just simple things as coming back to our mahinga kai and carrying out our cultural practices, to them that was our cultural identity. Okay, who's made a eel spear before? Who here has actually even speared an eel before? Have you caught an eel before? I thought you were a hunter-gatherer, yeah, once. Did you eat it? The Rangitane o Wairau have been awesome in their support and getting us to this point. Look at that. Oh. Boom. Seems like a small thing, but when you're the only Māori that have ever been allowed to come back here, small things like that often mean a lot. So there are a couple of boys that are out there helping me make the spear.
Yeah, me.
Yep. All right, so the first two shots will go to this fella and that fella there that was dishes doing, and if they miss, it's time to hand it on to somebody else. For us, it's not about the feed of eels. We can get probably better eels closer to home. Ooh! It's about being able to come back here to a mahinga kai that kept and sustained our people for generations. We can slowly make our way back to areas where we've been alienated for, you know, half a century in some places. It's a large part of revitalising our culture.
Hold it down. Hold it down, hold it down. Hold it.
It's about seeing our younger generation thrive, knowing who they are, knowing that when they come to these areas, they can explain what the connection is. They can explain who the tūpuna are here. 800 years, all the way back to when we first arrived. Some of them are, some of them aren't. Come and get some. Oh, Houston, sorry.